Hi guys, today I'm going to do a little different video. The video before this one is when I went halfway through my map, or I was about 400 miles through my map, and I thought maybe I would throw out some statistics for those of you who are curious, but also for those of you who may be wanting to do what I'm doing, coming from afar and having to spend either backpacking trips or nights out in the front country or even hotel rooms, kind of how I've pieced everything together as far as from a statistical aspect. So the first spreadsheet that I want to go over is the one from the Smoky Mountain 900 Miler Club website. I'll put the address up at the top here. This is the one that you will want to take meticulous care of. You want to document all of your dates and the amount of trail that you hike per segment. This will be what you submit to the committee, and this is what they will go over with a fine-tooth comb. This is where they find mistakes, like if you've missed a particular part of trail or what have you, and if the dates don't match up, they might have questions for. So you just want to make sure you take a good document of this. So I'll go over that with you. So this particular document, as you can tell here, does break each trail down by the segment as at the juncture, which is one reason why that's how I do my videos, where I video the juncture of the trail that I meet at for the most part. If you look there at the bottom, it says the official miles. It's got 800.1 and then 800.6. As you can tell, my official miles at this point are 431.9. That is continuing all of the trails that I did last week, which will include the next 3 videos that you see as I post in the next subsequent weeks. So then I also keep my own tally, and I keep this for other reasons. There's more statistics that I put on that tally and more information that I have, and I also use it as a balance for the other Excel spreadsheet just in case something's off. And it is technically off right now, but I know why. There are some segments that I've hiked that aren't a complete segment from junction to junction that I have put on my own personal tally that I have not put on my Smoky Mountain 900 Miler Club spreadsheet, my official document. I will post that on my official document when I finish that particular segment. So I'll show you now the document that I do for myself. So this particular one is broken down by trips. As you can see, I've got the date, I've got the particular trails that I hiked, and then I have a whole bunch of information outside of that. This tally shows that I have actually hiked 434.9 miles of the official Smokies map. Now, that is a difference of what? There are 3 miles. And like I said, those are because of some junctions that I've hit, that I put on my tally that I don't have on the official spreadsheet. But I also have some other information here that I think is very interesting, if you will. So far for me, the total miles that I have hiked to get to one junction or another, in other words, I've overhiked a trail or I've done an out and back, so that's going to be more miles, that is 587.94 miles. So roughly 150 extra miles so far. What I really like to show you is how I've broken it down. Like I said, I live about 6 hours away. I typically come in about 4-day segments. Sometimes it'll be less. At the point, I haven't gone more, but I may go more coming up. And you can tell that the nights that I have spent in total, or the days hiked in total, has been 57 days. Now, moving on past the miles hiked on this tally, I thought the rest of this would be interesting for you all who do have to come from outside of the area and can't just come for a day hike. So the total, I wouldn't pay too much attention to the total ascent. My Garmin watch is a really good watch, but I noticed that the ascent isn't completely accurate, and I noticed this after several of my hikes. So then I switched to using the Gaia app, and the Gaia is much more accurate, but I had several of these on here, so before I used Gaia, so I don't know that it's completely accurate. I still keep that tally because I do use Gaia now. But for the other information, so the days hiked is a total of 57 days. But what is more interesting, I think, for people who have to come from out of town is that I have spent 25 nights in the backcountry. And of course, if you want to come to town and you want to stay in the front country or in a hotel or cabin or whatever, and you don't want to do the backpacking, that's perfectly fine. I prefer to backpack for the most part, so that's why I have that information in there, or that's why I hike in the backcountry, excuse me. 25 nights in the backcountry, 16 of those have been at campsites, and 9 of those have been at shelters. I can't say which I prefer because the shelters are so nice. Many of them have privies, but all of them have pretty easy water access. The problem with shelters is that it's up high and it's not down low, and I do like being able to wash off in a stream or just sit by a stream, and the campsites generally offer the streams more. They don't have the privies. They all have bare cables, so I like them both. I like the mixture, actually. I have stayed in some front country campgrounds. I've stayed at Cataloochee campground and I've stayed at Elkmont campground. I believe those are the only 2 that I've stayed at. So those have been good. I've been probably a little more fearful at staying in those than I am, very interestingly, I think, than I am at the campsites or even the shelters. As far as bear activity goes, because when you're in the backcountry, bear aren't used to people feeding them. And so when I've had bear encounters, which you may have seen several of those on my videos, or at least heard me talk about them, those bear encounters have not been scary. Even the one where I was bluff charged by a mama. The ones in the backcountry just don't see you as a source of food. They see you as curious and they see you as a danger. But I haven't felt nearly as concerned about bear activity there as I had in the front country, because in the front country, people are there daily. People are there who might not necessarily hike at all, or who might hike but might not really understand the rules of not to feed a bear. I ran into a local last week, actually, who thought it was okay to chuck her banana peel just in the woods because that's a natural right. So you get a lot more of that in the front country than you do in the back country. So those have been probably my more concerning times. Never had a problem, but I know that there are issues out there. So that's interesting. And then 15 nights in hotels, and that's including the nights that I have to drive down after work. And I only go so far. Or sometimes I'll drive the whole way, and but I still have to stop somewhere for the night. So that's including those. I think I got everyone. That almost seems like a low number because I've been doing this for a year and a half now. So that seems like that might be a little bit of a low number, but we'll go with it because it's on the spreadsheet. So that's kind of the tally that I keep. I kept a yearly tally from last year, and I'll probably do an end of the year stats for this year as well. I won't go over that right now. I just really for the purpose of you seeing how I break everything down halfway through. I also wanted to show you my map. This is my map. I know you've seen pictures of it. I do pictures in the videos where I show you the segment that I hiked. But I really wanted to show this to you as to how I keep track of it. And also I thought a few interesting tidbits. So I do black Sharpie. Had I had it to do over again, I probably would have done a purple or a pink or an orange, something that's different than the colors on here. There is black, yellow, and green. There is a little bit of red too. And had I done my map different, I would, and maybe I've got plenty of these maps, I can redo it at any time, but I started with a black Sharpie, so that's what I'm going with. But my goal was to hike the hard stuff first. That's the way I've always been. I always do the hard stuff first and save the rest to last. I don't know. So my goal was to hike North Carolina as much as I could, at least the hard parts of North Carolina. Maybe not at first. At first I think I chose some easier trails and even some AT trails just because it was comfortable to me. But once I got comfortable with what I was doing, then I headed to the harder stuff. So you'll see that most of my North Carolina is completely covered in. The one area that I don't have covered in is this 3.9 of Welch Ridge. That wasn't an oopsie. It was just a matter of having the opportunity to get to it and still get to all the other remote trails that are around it. I also have this section of Lakeshore, which I'm planning on coming back. That's not going to be so hard. I'm going to do a boat shuttle. That'll be my second boat shuttle that I've ever done. So that'll be kind of exciting. But this North Carolina side is a side that I wasn't very comfortable with. I chose to hike this with people. So I didn't do solo hikes in any of the North Carolina section. And that was also because I wasn't as familiar and comfortable with that area. So I'm glad that I did hike with people there, even though I do love to solo hike. I did a little bit of the Deep Creek, but that was not because I wasn't comfortable with it. I'm actually very happy to go back and do this part, maybe next spring. I'm not really sure exactly when. I also did, let me get this on this side, sorry. Maybe I'll stand above this. There we go. I also did the Cosby area because that is another, I thought, a harder one. Turns out it wasn't really all that hard, but I wanted to get it out of the way because I'd heard some horror stories about that. I did the Benton Mackay. That one was tough, the first part of the Benton Mackay, but then after that it was super easy. I did the Cataloochee area. I did that earlier because I wasn't sure how hard that was going to be. Turns out that was one of the most beautiful sections of the park, and I will hike that again for sure. So basically what I've left myself is just a little bit more of Cataloochee, the Big Creek area, and then the Kephart area. I've left a lot of the Mount LeConte. I think I'm going to get some of that next week or next trip. And then I've left Deep Creek and then all this Tennessee area, Cades Cove. Sorry, I was going to do Cades Cove area this summer, then I realized that was more of a winter type situation. And then the 20-mile area, this will be done in the fall. Again, with somebody, because I'm not really sure that I want to do that separately. I know Gregory Bald is in there, but the rest of it, I'm just not as familiar with that area, and it is a lot more remote. So anyway, I just wanted to show you my map and let you know what I did. That might be a little different than other people. I've had a lot of people tell me that they started off with the easier trails. A lot of people that are local too. I find that a lot of locals are able to ease into the 900 miler a little bit easier than what I thought I was. I just felt like I needed to, if this was something I was going to continue on, I just needed to get comfortable with the hard stuff first. But a lot of people will start with the easier things. I've got a lot of day hikes left. I'm not really sure how much more backcountry camping. I know I'll get it in the Big Creek and Cataloochee and then 20 Mile and Cades Cove, but then all of those, like LeConte, I could turn a couple of those into day hikes. I'm actually looking into trying to stay at the lodge. I've never stayed at the lodge before, so I hope that that can happen. But then all of the ones on the Tennessee side, those are all pretty much day hikes. I still have Ramsey Cascades, and right now Ramsey Cascades is not open due to all the flooding that happened in Greenbrier, so I'm not sure when that's going to happen. But I believe it'll be open before I'm done with my map. And I think if I'm already at 430 miles, I will definitely be well over 500 miles by the end of the year. That leaves me 300 or 250 to 300, depending on how many I get in. And I think that's going to take me at least another year just because of the accessibility of some of these trails I'm going to have to hike over again. So I'll come home sometime and have like 20, 30 miles that are solid 900 miles. But then now it's going to be like that Welch Ridge trip. That's only going to be 3.9 miles. I mean, obviously I'm going to pair that with something else, but my 900 miles are going to go down. So it's going to take me a little longer. I was going to give myself another year and a half to finish it. But I think that I probably could finish it sooner than that. We'll see. I'm not really certain. I'll have a better idea at the end of the year when I do another end of the year stats information video. So that's it for this video. I wanted to show you my plan and the craziness that goes on in my head, and then also ask you guys, I'm interested in doing some safety videos or some tips videos, like water crossing videos, videos about how I hang my pack whenever I go do another trail, what I take with me, bear safety. I could do some other types of videos. So I don't know if you're interested in that, but if you are, send me a comment and let me know what you might want to see. I'm sorry. August allergies. I'm cutting this off. Thank you for watching. and I hope you enjoy.